as far as giga-size single entities go, the Merwyrm is a little bit tricky. I mean, it's certainly not as good as something like the Dread Saurian, but I just really have seen it have a hard time consistently paying for itself. Part of that might be people learning how to use it. Part of it, I think, is just some animation issues that a lot of large single entities of this size have. They tend to be a little bit cumbersome to use in practice, so yeah, but the Merwyrm, at least on paper, has a lot going for it. Plus 30 bonus versus large on a huge 700 weapon strength. Big old melee attack, of course, on the ROR. He's also got some nice kind of little AoEs here as well. Passive regeneration, so you don't have to heal him quite as much. But, again, I've seen them have a hard time consistently paying for themselves. Let's see, though, if Skarbrand can make it work today against Slaanesh. He's also got tech list to support with some healing, some nets, Flock of Doom. We've also got a few spearmen and a ship's company here, along with Sisters of Avalorn, yes, Handmaidens of Ilariel, not actually handmaidens, but anyway, a couple of Oceanids, and then that's basically it. Skycutters also, a couple of the bow Skycutters in the air with their magic ammunition can do some good skirmishing against Slaanesh. Speaking of Slaanesh, got some Hellstriders here, got Devoted Marauders, putting a couple of whips, 3 spears, 2 Slangors, and a Aluris. Very interesting. Do the Alurises get the steed? I actually haven't even checked. I would assume they get the demonic steed, but this time taken on just the regular steed. Confusingly, they're both called steed, but anyway. Net on the mask there. Deceleration was actually crazy. Like, she's still running for a second, but and the Sisters of Avalorn are going to fire in along with the Lothern Skycutters. Of course, also a little bit of Kindle Flame. No, actually, Tech List did not actually take Kindle Flame. Could have boosted the damage a little bit with that net on the Sisters of Avalorn, but a Slicing Shard's being cast on Silak. That's kind of rude. I probably should have cast that on the Sisters of Avalorn, actually, but Hellstrider's also moving in. Going to have a tough time against those Oceanids because of their high melee defense. And the Skycutter's also helping to rear charge this melee engagement here. Yeah, getting some damage on the Slangors. They don't just get a full nasty charge into the ship's company. Nice to see them used in more of a supporting role here. Yeah, the Chariot charge actually does some pretty good damage to those light infantry. Kind of wrecking some of the Devoted Marauders there in the front line. Meanwhile, Silak going to be used against cavalry here. They are just flimsy light cavalry at the end of the day. But, yeah, they've got these Pleasure Seekers and a couple of actual Seekers here lurking. That's where the value of this army actually is. Well, a good portion of it, at least. They're going to charge in, and let's see how they do against the Oceanids. I am curious. I don't think I've tested Seekers versus Oceanids yet, but in theory, they should carve through them pretty well with that high charge bonus and magic damage. And, yeah, this unit getting absolutely blasted. The other one, I don't think these Seekers had a direct charge order on the Oceanids. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but that one didn't take nearly as much damage. But the Pleasure Seekers on the loose through the center. They're going to find a gap, get onto the Sisters of Avalorn. So chaos ensues in the back line. You see the mask also mixing it up here. So exactly what Slaanesh wants to break this defensive formation. Just get in here and do huge amounts of damage to everything. Techless does throw out a little Flock of Doom there, but he himself has that some danger of being sniped by the mask, so just have to stay on the move. And looks like Hellstriders, ooh, they're going to catch those Skycutters on the ground. Unfortunate situation for the High Elves, if so. Skycutters really need to get in the air so they can shoot from a more safe position, but yeah, right now it's looking pretty grim, actually, for the High Elves, other than Silak himself. But, of course, Slaanesh will have to cycle charge him pretty aggressively with whatever units they have. Ooh, Techless being netted also by Narcissism. The Slaanesh force is saying, like, oh, yeah, we see that you can net. We can also net. He then gets surrounded by Pleasure Seekers, and, yeah, Techless is killed. Just straight up killed. Goes from 0 to 100 to 0 in, like, 30 seconds or less, probably there, but hey, at least Silak's still alive, and the passive regeneration will somewhat keep him alive over time. Leadership issues might come to be a thing in the late game, but for now, the Oceanids are helping to hold. Get a few High Elf units kind of rallying over on the far side, but Silak going to move in. Mask, of course, counting as infantry size, but the big old Merwyrm not carrying too much, as it just has massive weapon strength. But yeah, see, there's kind of the stutter stepping that we know. A lot of large single entities have that issue where they kind of bug out sometimes, don't actually do any attack animations, sort of turn around, and they take a long time to turn around. During that time, they're all just taking free attacks. So, a little bit unfortunate. Of course, Merwyrm has a huge HP pool, and that passive healing does offset that somewhat. Damage you'll be taking for free from some of those cumbersome movements, but still an issue for sure. That being said, Pleasure Seekers, you can see, just staying very far away right now. Did not want to get tangled up with old Silak. Doesn't he actually only have one eye? Oh, let's see. Okay, so there's an eye on that side. Oh yeah, that eye's all scratched out. Okay. That's pretty cool. I do love their animations from, like, aesthetic perspective, I will say. He looks like he's having a great time. He jumps around a lot, which is nice to see. And sometimes that jumping around a lot can be an issue, but ooh yeah, the side slam there actually took out quite a few of those Pleasure Seekers. And the Oceanids, unfortunately, having some major leadership issues, but the Pleasure Seekers also, the Skycutter bows actually could probably finish them off at this point. So yeah, you see Merwyrm changes his attention over to the mask, doing some big attack animations, do a bunch of anti-infantry damage here as well. But yeah, a lot of particle effects that Chisana changing. Waltz of Lethargy. Yeah, the dances, I guess, is what is the little aura surrounding the Slaanesh guy. It's kind of tanking my frame rate a little bit, but that's okay. Lothern Skycutter's gonna charge in, having used up most of their ammunition at this point. They do have a big blob to try and charge into. Ooh, even a handful of Sisters of Avalorn come back from route, put a little range damage on this blob. But yeah, no AoE damage right now from any kind of caster. Teclis would be absolutely feasting with that Flock of Doom on this big blob right now. But at least the Merwyrm can charge in, maybe do some impact damage. Yeah, a lot of spears here as well, but I mean, they are just Slaanesh spears. They're not going to have a lot of burst damage. We'll see if the healing of old Silak is able to keep up with the damage he's going to be taking in a surround potentially. Although leadership is starting to become a bit of an issue for a lot of these Slaanesh units as they get pretty low. They are immune to psychology, of course. Everything on Slaanesh is immune to psychology, which is great for not getting terror routed in a situation like this, but they can still just straight up get routed on leadership, obviously. And the mask getting caught out without any support here, as old One Eye it's gonna do the death roll animation. Yeah, so the mask takes a couple of direct big hits there. Probably should switch to the, well, none of these dances are actually very defensive. So not really going to help any here, but maybe the speed dance just to try and run away. But the rest of the time here, the Skycutters are making their presence felt as chariots, doing a really nice job running through these units without them being able to do much about it at all, really. So despite the early losses for the High Elves here, they're able to hang around through the power of DLC. And Mask not doing great right now, pops that Hysterical Frenzy, but ultimately is going to have leadership issues and demonic instability. Strikes again. With that, I would imagine a lot of these Slaanesh units are just going to straight up rout here. Yep. The Dolores also does count as large, so like 2 attack animations from Silak, and she's off the field. The Skycutters can chase these routing units for now, and it's only a matter of time. We'll fast forward through this late game as Slaanesh tries to make their final stand. But of course, it's Conquest, so Silak can come stand on the point here, and even though it'll take him an eternity to cap it, he can cap it. Meanwhile, the Skycutter is continuing to run around, and the whole time, too, he's also regenerating HP. So, yeah, there's absolutely no chance for Slaanesh. Dolores runs in, gets immediately clapped, and that's it. That's all she wrote. So, victory for the High Elves, and yeah, decent performance by the Merwyrm. I say decent. Almost 4,000 damage value, 25,000 damage dealt. The first time I think I've seen it really carry a game. And yeah, Slaanesh, of course, is a faction that famously doesn't have good anti-large tools. So it's arguably one of the factions that would be most susceptible to the Merwyrm. They certainly have some tools, like there was no ranged whatsoever from this Slaanesh army, and generally the Slaanesh Marauder Horsemen, I would say, are very good. I would definitely be taking them against the High Elves. The magic damage Javelins are really good against the Oceanids, really good for having something to DPS against old Silak. Going full melee here is definitely a risk. I respect to a degree, but like, yeah, Seekers of Slaanesh not really going to do a lot for you here. Straight up, just take these out and bring another Pleasure Seeker, and then your army is just better here for Sindri Mir on the Slaanesh side. Hellstriders contribute some value. I mean, the infantry force is kind of okay. Slangors are a nice addition. They managed to get some good value cutting up ship's company and whatnot. And overall, pretty decent. Yeah, Masks had a little bit of a tough time here. And this is a matchup where I might not take Mask consistently, just because High Elves have a lot of ways of sniping out the Mask between magic. You know, big, scary, flying single entities that you can't control the movements of, really, just landing on your head. Yeah, Mask is definitely at risk in this matchup, more so, I would say, than some other matchups. So, something to consider there. Sky Cutters, I actually think with the nerfs they did in early access, the bolt thrower ones are arguably not worth using. The bow ones, on the other hand, especially with the magic damage against a faction like Slaanesh that has physical resistance on pretty much everything, it is nice to have, you know, that magic damage bow against light armor targets. And then, as we saw there, also charging light infantry, which you can definitely guarantee Slaanesh is going to bring at least some. I mean, I guess you can't guarantee that. There's a chance you could see some Chosen. And actually, in this matchup, I do think that the Whip Chosen can be a decent addition, potentially. But that's neither here nor there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.